What's up, guys? We're gonna brobeatz. I'm gonna be showing you guys how to make a money man type beat. If you guys haven't subbed already or turn post homage, do so. Good does up a lot. Let's hop right into it. So we will not be needing a scale for this. So this one should be super easy. BPM about, I'll say somewhere around 160. So 155 to like 165 should be like a nice sweet spot. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. We'll get started making our melody. All right, so first up we have our piano, just a little normal piano. Okay, so this is gonna be super easy. Let's probably go up an octave. So basically we're just gonna use the first 3 notes of our scale. So it would just be like any root note you want, and then you skip a note and just place 2. So you could just literally place any note and then you just skip a note and place 2. And these are the only notes you'll ever need really to make kind of this style. Now, if you want to go outside of it and do more, you can kind of pull up a scale, but this is pretty much it. And the rest would just kind of be like manipulating it. So we can start here, skip that note. Well, let's actually spread these out a bit. And then we just copy this over. And then I'm gonna hold Alt and pull these back so they linger. Cause these beats, you know, they're pretty simple. And people, just because there's like effects and reverb and all this stuff, people think it's like super complicated, but most of it, it's really not. So that's all we're gonna do for this piano, and let's move on to the next sound. All right, so next up we have like this pad. So with this, if you want this to go smooth, you want to pick sounds that kind of do the work for you. Maybe they have like a lot of movement, or they kind of just grab the vibe that you're going for. So I picked this, something like this, something like trippy. And basically we just use the same notes, except now we kind of want to do like some chords or like a dyad. So I'm gonna use probably, and I can zoom in real quick. And then we could just repeat this over and over like that. And then we can use this D sharp and just pull it down. Just give it some range. Right, and honestly, if you wanted to, you could just use this bare bones and get the drum started. So let's go on to our next instrument. All right, so next up, we just have this pad, very like airy, loose pad. So I'm gonna just layer it, honestly. We don't have to do much because it already sounds good to me as like a starter melody. So let's just copy it down. Let's pull it down an octave so that it kind of gets some different frequencies, so it's not the same. So yeah, let's play it all together. And if you want to do more, go ahead, but I want this to be as simple as possible, because, you know, showing doing a bunch of like melodies and stuff, it's not really realistic on what really goes on, right? So I kind of want to dial it back in this video. So that's it for the melody. Now we can go ahead and manipulate it and turn it to a sample. All right, so now we're going to turn it into a sample. So let's just grab our whole pattern in here, just like this. And then all we're going to do is just right click and then consolidate this track from the start it, let it do its thing. And this is what it will sound like. Okay, and then from here, there's a lot of things you can do. But what I'm gonna do is double click, reverse, okay? And then after this, what we're gonna do is chop it like so. And then what we want to do is take the front part and put it in the back. So I'm gonna just pull this up and just reverse it like this. Okay. And now we can play it. All right. And then from here, what we're gonna do is right click and then kind of chop this up. All right. So now we have this as a solid track. Okay, so now the next step, okay, and I know it's a lot of steps we're going through. So the next step will be just double click, right click, and then go to audio editor. So this will pop up, and then simply all we're gonna do is you can right click, or actually I think you can right click right here. So you can right click this sample rate. Now you don't need to do this, but this is kind of sell the effect, and click resample. I just usually use 1000, accept, and then from here we can use our reverb, and this is just like, I just always use this setting, okay, and then blur, and the blur will kind of melt it together so it's not so choppy. And you can copy these settings if you want to, accept, and then from here we just drag it in, and then take this slice tool, chop it, and now we have our little sample. We can rename it sample, okay? You can change the color and stuff, do like blue. All right, so that's our sample. So now we go ahead and go on to the next part. All right, so now we're at the point where we can kind of add the drum. So I'm gonna add the 808, and pretty much I'll just kind of level these slightly just so we can hear the 808. Okay, so I'm gonna go in here, and this is gonna be pretty easy. Same thing, we just use this D sharp to start, and I'm gonna turn this up. Okay, I like that. So now what we can do is kind of add the rest of the drums. It's only a few of them anyway. So yeah. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is pretty much just copy the kick over here and then just mess with the velocity. Kind of like it low. Yeah, I kind of like it like that. So we can just add in this snare. Now, real quick, if you wanted to, you could just do this. Right? And that's how you can kind of be done. But I kind of like adding a little, like, kind of like a stop and go effect with my drums. Like something like that, right? Just kind of play around with the hi-hats a bit. So I'm just keep going. Okay, so that's it for the drums. Nothing crazy. So now what we can do is kind of process it. So I'm gonna load up some presets and then kind of go through the process. Now, if y'all want me to start doing that live on here, let me know, but I don't think anybody really wants to see me just load in a bunch of presets. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so now I'm just go through some of the presets. So for the piano, I thought it was super dry, so I just added a super massive preset. This is just a custom preset. What is this one right here? Okay, now just turn the mix down. All right, and so you can copy this if you need. So after that, just kind of EQ the piano out, because I don't want it to be muddy. So that's pretty much what it sounds like. And then I separated it a little bit so it's not so like mono. So after that, on this sample, okay, I pretty much just lowered this a bit and then kind of mixed out some of the muddiness, right, and boosted the highs a bit, because on this one here, okay, and of course you can see I panned them. On this one I actually added some effects. So I had supermassive default preset, but I had shaper box, and pretty much I just did like a filter to give it some bounce, okay. And this is pretty much just a filter, just a custom filter, and then I'll show you what this sounds like by itself. That's pretty much it. So I'm gonna combo all of them. And then on the bus, okay, so you can see everything, everything is on the bus, okay. Just kind of EQ'd, shaved off some of the highs a bit, just so it's kind of muffled. And then I did the same thing with this EQO. As you can see, soft clipper, so everything's a little bit more controlled, so because it's like bouncing, right? And I don't want the these like peaks to go super high, so I just put a soft clipper. And that's pretty much it for the melody. And the drums I didn't really touch. For the drums I always just use like kind of shape them with my mastering. So I'm gonna turn everything on, and then I'm gonna let you hear it without. Right, and then just to add character, real quick, I just use, and y'all see me use this a lot, I just use a default preset on this one. Turned off the space though. And then EQO, of course, just boosting certain frequencies that I like personally. Okay. And then fast distort, just a kind of a light distortion, turn the mix down. And then of course a soft clipper, and then you can see it just kind of EQ'd a bit just to shape it a little bit more. That's pretty much it. And you don't need to do all this. This is just like preference. You could just leave, just put the soft clipper on, be done. So this is what it sounds like off and on. All right, and that's pretty much it. And of course you can take this further, you can add other effects to like the full thing. But that's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully it's helpful. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.